Good morning, everybody. I'm Jenny. Thanks for tuning in. Now, make sure you hit that subscribe button in the corner to get this video and content and so on. Now, I'm going to be talking about what's coming up for this week's energy. Like, what can you guys be expecting every day or feeling or might be going through and so on like this? There's been so many huge transformational shifts. How many of you guys have noticed? Like, take a look at where you are right now today compared to where you were towards the end of February. Like, what has taken place? What has happened? Some of you have had like huge transformational shifts, like forward, like new doors have opened for you. And you're like, yes, I'm going to take that chance. I'm going to jump on that. Or, wow, like this house just opened up. Like, all of these new doors that the eclipse has opened up. Like we get opportunities coming to us, but it always doesn't mean we have to jump on it. I mean, I had a huge life opportunity coming towards me and I turned it down, right? I'm still like, did I do the right thing? But it's like, you have to look at the reality of situations. Like we can manifest a lot of different things, of course, and then whenever it comes up front, we can be like, wow, is that what I really want? Am I really ready for that? Or let's take a look at the reality with things. So when you're making big decisions and you're like, I don't know what to do. Like I always write down, okay, what is the positive sides? Wow, that's amazing, right? Like, however, you also have to write down the cons. Like there's pros and cons for every decision you make, no matter what it is. And the eclipse brought in some huge opportunities, sudden closures, sudden new beginnings, sudden this, sudden that, all of that. That's what the eclipse does. But then it's like, okay, let me look at the reality with this situation at all. Not the fantasy, not the dream, not this, and that. Let's look at the reality with it. What comes with my wish? What comes with those new doors that opens up? This is when you have to take the step back and really ask yourself, do you really, really, really want that? But I don't know. Sometimes we have to take the risk and jump on it in order to see, wow, wow, did I make a really, really big mistake? Or wow, that opportunity changed my whole life forever. And what an amazing experience. Like, don't be hard on yourself. This is life. Like planet Earth is the hardest planet to be on, right? It's our learning center. It's where we resolve situations and clear situations. I mean, with myself, I'm looking at more peace and doing whatever it takes to find that. You know what I mean? And stay grounded and all like so many different things. We all have our own journey and so on and so on and so on. So it just comes down to what do you really want? What are you ready for? What do you not want? All of those things. Because this week you're going to find that you are going to be reflecting back on a lot of things. For those of you who jumped on those opportunities, in March, let's say, you could be finding, wow, I'm so busy. Now I have to do this. Now I have to do that. Just take your time and breathe. Take your time, right? Seriously, take your time. I wasn't ready to pack up my entire place all over again and move to the long distance move for several reasons. Believe me, the opportunity came up at the location I wanted to move to. And I'm like, oh my God, really? Like, wow. But, it's like you got to go on your own pace with everything. So you're going to be finding, as I just said, that you're going to be like, I need space this week. I just need to take a step back. I just need to take a day off, or I need to take a couple of days off. Maybe I want to book into the spa. Maybe I just want to get away from my environment and go like to the mountains or for a hike or get in touch with nature or just more quiet and peace. You might find that you need to do that. And it's really important because we have to set boundaries, from the hustle and the bustle and the madness of the world, when we get busy. Like there's people out there who have families in a really, really busy life. I got the kids, I have my spouse, my husband, my wife, I have my job, I have this, all of that, of course, you know. However, You really need to find your peace and really say, you know what? I need time for me. I'm just going to turn my phone off or I'll get back to you later. Whatever it is, you're going to be, wow. You're also going to be doing more healing this week. Like certain past, traumas and painful moments and times have been coming up. And some of you are still healing from that. Whenever your body gets tense and stressed, it's really hard to let tension go at times when we're carrying so much energy. And that's why it's like, I just need to let go of this and just find my peace and stillness so my body can calm down and get back grounded as well. Like your body will tell you where you're at. I feel like working out, go for it. I feel like just sitting back, just putting my feet up and doing nothing. Listen to your body. You know what I mean? Like we need rest, we need busyness, like it's the balance. Some of you have let go of people, like certain people that you're like, I just don't connect with them anymore, or you've been healing through people from your past. Once upon a time ago, they resurfaced. Mercury retrograde, we're still in. Thank God we're getting towards the end of it on the 14th. Like, oh my gosh. However, there's that post retrograde too that things will really start to calm down, right? So I'm not looking anything to get away until all of that is done and over with and out of the clue, right? So it's like, okay, now it's kind of more safe. The energy's a lot more calm. So go on your own rhythm, go on your own beat and such like that, and when you're making, like huge decisions, because certain decisions that you made in March, all of a sudden, boom, you might, like all of a sudden that job you applied for or like whatever it is, boom, boom, boom. Okay, yeah, we're going to hire you. We need you to do this. We need you to come to that meeting. We need you to fill out the paperwork. We need you. Oh my God, I got to book the movers. I'm moving. Oh my God, like all of those things, right? Just before you make that final decision, make sure you know what you're getting yourself involved with. We still have Mercury retrograde, which is all about be careful on signing new contracts. That eclipse brought in huge new opportunities, new doors where there could very well be contracts. That's a part for you to move forward in your evolution. It could be really exciting. However, no matter what new contracts, be very careful and know exactly what you're getting yourself involved with. That's why I backed away myself because I'm like, this isn't going to work. I'm sorry, but I can't be working 20 hours a day, no matter how huge, life changing that opportunity is. I'm at that stage. No, I'm going to be kind of finding more balance. Be so where some of you are like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. Just take your time, know what you're getting yourself involved with. If you're not sure, let's say what the contract is about, make sure you go over it and, get somebody, let's say like an attorney, lawyer, or whoever to say, okay, this is what this means. And that fine little print, make sure you know what you're doing. I mean, I just changed my parking spot, right? And even changing the parking spot, I'm like, geez, my car doesn't fit here. Like, are you kidding me? So I had to get changed again. There can be little things like that that can be really annoying. And those little things can be really, well, I'm just saying. But you are going to see more clarity this week as well. Thank goodness, right? You're going to be getting more little things done. Like always prioritize what is important that has to get done. You don't want to be pushing things under the rug and walking away and ignoring it. Certain things like I have paperwork and stuff on my other desk, and I'm like, oh, hell no, because it's not a prioritize. I have to deal with that like right away. It's like, okay, yeah, I know I gotta do this, or yeah, I know. But make sure you get on top of what's the priority because certain things, when you look back on that eclipse, came up. We can think we're on a different path, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 things changed immediately. And you're like, oh my gosh, like how and why did that happen type thing. So that eclipse brings up certain things that you need to pay attention to this. We need to get this resolved. We need to heal from this. We have to do surgery. We have to make these changes. We like whatever it is, right? So you have to pay attention to that. So you are and have been also cutting ties with karmic relationships. You know, karmic relationships can be anybody. Like my neighbors just moved at the end of March. Thank the Lord for all of those, who have been watching the series, that they've been neighbors from hell. They're gone. Yay. Right. So cutting ties, karmically with certain people or situations, it's like, wow, I don't connect with that person anymore, or we're on two different paths, or wow, that person is toxic, or, but it doesn't matter. Clearing certain roads to make our roads open up bigger for us in a more peaceful path, that's where I'm going. That's the direction that I'm gravitating towards rather than the craziness of nonstop, right? So it's part of your, like your soul searching. It's part of your dark night of the soul. It's part of your transformation. This is a year of the snake, of course, where with snake energy is about healing, transformation, rebirth, shedding the old skin to embrace the new skin. However, the snake can be very deceitful as well. So pay attention to a lot of deceit. Something doesn't feel right with someone or something just, that's what I'm saying. Don't jump into anything so quickly, so quickly, so quickly. Really pay attention and listen to your intuition. What's that person's intentions towards me? What is their motive? Certain things like that. So just take that step back, really take that step back, and that eclipse brought in destined connections and such. Like it brought in destined connections for me with huge doors opening up, right? But I said no. Right? I'll take me time to get over it. If you only knew what opportunity opened up for me, right? But anyways, take that breathe in, take that breath out, right? Being grateful for opportunities, being grateful for the now, being grateful for this moment you have now. Roadblocks happen for reasons, delays happen for reasons. Really listen to that intuition. So you might even find on the 5th and 6th of April this week, you're going to be staying more true to who you are because you've seen the truth. You're looking more at reality. Some of you, as I mentioned, are taking action forward into your destiny, into that dream life, into your dream career, dream path, no matter what direction it is. You're seeing your worth more. You're like, you know what? I don't deserve that. No, not at all. So when you start seeing your worth more, you could be like, no, I'm not going to just settle, with a certain relationship or a certain offer, or this just isn't working for me. All of those kinds of things. You're going to be taking more responsibility on the 5th and 6th as well for the choices you made, the decisions you made too. Like even me, seriously, I'm still pondering. I hope I made the right decision. But it's like when you're finding that peace within, it's like, you know what, no matter how much I wanted that, it's just, it's just out of alignment with certain things, right? So don't beat up yourself. Don't beat up yourself. You're going to find that you could be more passionate. What is it that you truly want to pursue? What is it that you're really passionate about? Well, I'd like to do this, this, and that. Okay, but I don't have experience. Well, you can take training, there's classes, you know, but I know. However, it's like, okay, if you want to get to certain steps, sometimes we have to take classes or get further education in order to get us to that certain area or that certain job or career or whatever it is. I always do research on certain things, no matter if it's this, or that. And it's like the pros and the cons, as I've always mentioned. But that study course, Jenny, oh my God, you know how many years it's going to take me? It's like, I know, but is that what you really want? Are you really passionate about it? Then follow that. Because when you really follow your passions and so on, believe me, new doors open up. I get But I have people like, how do you get those new opportunities? I'm like, I never go looking for it. They come to me. They come to me. All of a sudden, I'll get a message or whatever. Hey, we're looking for somebody like this. And would you like to be a part of our huge, like broadcast situation? Would you like to have this job? Would you like whatever it is? You know what I mean? So really, really just see where your frequency is at, your vibration, what you truly want, because you're not going to be just settling just because. So this is all a part of your journey of self-discovery. So you might even find on the 7th and the 8th, you might be overthinking a little bit too much as well. Geez, should I have done this? Or should I have gone that? Or you're overthinking. When we overthink too much, it's like the hamster wheel, as I always call it. That's why it's like write things down, the pros and the cons, because when we overthink, our mind is nonstop going nonstop. But when we start writing it down on paper, we start to see clarity. I mean, even my decision that I made, let's say, I was watching a video, I can't remember what it was or whatever, but somebody said, you know, something, and I'm like, that was my answer right away for me to make my decision of saying no. And I'm like, you're right, you're right. So we get signs from everywhere. You could be like at the grocery store. Your mailman could say something to you. Like there's signs everywhere. Like I'm always open to hearing signs and messages coming through from the spirit world, and uh, they come through in so many different ways. And even that person, I don't know that person but they said something and I'm like, oh my God, you're right. And it was something I knew deep down, but it's just like, thank you for that confirmation. I immediately felt better. So signs can come from anywhere. Like sometimes we need those confirmations that we're on the right path or that we've made in the right changes or whatever, whatever. Sometimes we know that I'm done with this. I'm going to end this now. It's just not getting me anywhere, or I'm tired, or I'm not into that. Then do that, because we all have different cycles. That cycle's ending for you now. It's like if you're seeing that you're really getting somewhere with it, and it's bringing in lots of positive things for you, great. But if you're like, you know what, I've been doing this, I've been paying money for this and this and that, and I don't see anything changing. There's no changing. I've been putting all this money in, my investment isn't paying off, then pull out. There's different doors that open up for you as well, right? So you have to make the best of it and just follow what's true for you. I had people, why did you turn that opportunity, Jeni? That was incredible. And I'm like, I know, I agree with you, but you have to go what feels right for you, for your reasons. They're not the ones that are put right there to do this, are they? No. So just keep it real, you guys. Really keep it real. Things are going to start coming together more so on the 9th and the 10th. So those decisions you made, no matter if it's new beginnings or ending that you made in March, you're going to be like, now I'm getting it. Now I understand. I'm going to be staying more in the now. Like this is the year, the universal 9 year, of course, where it's more about making long-term decisions than short-term, boom, boom, boom. Always short-term goals, long-term goals. But this is a year for long-term goals. Like even that opportunity that came up for me, it was in the location I wanted to be at. But I'm like, I very well could still move out to that location, but there's certain things I want to get done here first before I do that, right? And if that opportunity comes up when I've moved out there, let's say, then I might look at it again. But if not, I'm not worried about it. So this is all about let's make some long-term goals with things. Long-term goals, long-term plans are not overnight. Just start writing it down. What would you really, really like? Where's your work? What do you really, really want? Do you want to work from home? Do you want to go out and work from an office? Right? What kind of relationship do you want? What type of environment do you want to live in? Maybe you're working on your health. Maybe you're working on, I want marriage, or maybe it's time for me to have children, or maybe it's time I want to be free and just explore the world, let's say. Follow your own bliss, because you are going to start to feel more confident as well on the 9th and the 10th. And you might be like, you know what, I need more space to myself as well. Like to to really ground myself, to think even more, but to not overthink. Like when we get in touch with nature, do a workout, we're moving our body, we're not like getting distractions from a busy environment or a place or whatever, because you're not going to be getting a lot of messages coming through when there's a lot of noise going on. Like if you're in a busy environment, let's say, where if you're kind of like in a peaceful environment, you're like, okay, nature, okay, earth, okay, spirit, okay, universe, whoever my guides. I'm open to receive messages. I am open to receive. Let it go. Don't go forcing. Don't go looking. And you'll be surprised. All of a sudden, that little voice will start coming on. And you'll start hearing it. You'll start hearing it. So you will start to see that even more. Write down certain things. But oh my God, like those are huge changes I have to make. Don't put pressure on yourself. Just start writing it down. Okay, I need to do this, or I want to change that, or I know I have to get that done and out of the way. Like whatever it is, really look into it. And so on, right? So this week can be kind of somber for you. It can be kind of like flowing a little bit more, or it can be crazy, crazy busy. If you're jumping on certain opportunities from that eclipse, maybe it's all of a sudden, boom, you have to move. Maybe it's all of a sudden, boom, like whatever it is. So you could be like, yeah, God, I have 101 things to do now. Now I have to change this. Now I have to learn how to do all of this for my new job. Now I have to, like, whatever it is. Go on your own rhythm. Go on your own flow, right? Push, 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 force, force, force. No, that's not the route. That is not the route. You don't want to force something because then it won't work with you, or it might be the wrong road, or it might not work out for you. But sometimes, even if you're like, I force that to happen and God, do I regret it? That's how we learn. Don't be hard on yourself, right? How would you have known? Sometimes we have to take a risk and do this, 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 and that in order to see, is that what I really want, or all of that? And you have seen how much you're changing. Some of you are looking at, you know what? I want this, or I wanted that. I I just don't want it anymore. I don't know what happened. I had my heart set on this, or I had my heart set on that, but I just don't want that anymore. I've had, a lot of people say that, and I'm like, that's part of your transformation. We can have our eyes on something or someone, let's say, God, I thought I wanted that, but I just don't have those feelings anymore for that person, or I just don't want to move there anymore, or I don't want to take that job, or I know I just can't be with my person anymore, whatever it is, right? So listen to that, really listen to the guidance of your own spirit. You can always book a reading with me. I'm a psychic clairvoyant medium, and I give you my insights clairvoyantly. And then it's up to you, of course, to make your decision of the path that feels right for you, of course. Always go by what feels right for you. So, but just be more mindful of what you're getting involved with, right? As that person say, know what you're getting yourself involved with. Like, don't look at the dream of it and all of the perks. Look at what you are really getting involved with. What is all involved in that? And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. So, anyways, so I'm just going to pull a couple of cards to see what messages the spirit world has for you. I do not use cards when I'm with a client because I'm clairvoyant. I'll give you past life Akashic readings. I'm an animal communicator. Give you my insights, what I see for you in all different areas and so on. But because we're doing this YouTube here, I'm going to pull a couple of cards to see what messages the universe has for you. So not all of you are going to be like, well, that didn't happen. Well, of course not. Of course not. Right. So let's see what messages are coming up. I'm going to use the deck here, Ancestor Spirit by Jade Smith. So let's see what messages are for you from the spirit world from the 5th to 10th of April. Like we're in April. We're in April. Like, oh my gosh, thank gosh, right? It's a new year. So what is the message from the spirit world from the 5th to the 10th of April? What is the message? What is the message? is the message. You know, and some of you too might make last minute decisions on certain things. You might find that that opportunity you said no to, no matter what it is, it could come back up again, and you're going to be like, okay, or maybe somebody contacted you in March, like that you're like, do you want to go on a date? And you're like, no, but maybe they'll really reapproach you this time. And you're like, okay, maybe let's meet up and go for coffee or something or whatever. So we still have that energy going on. So things could come back around this week too. So you will have an opportunity to revisit that and so on, right? Um, I mean, I would have jumped on that opportunity if there was other things that they were going to do. But because they didn't, I'm like, no, that I'm not compromising myself. No matter how huge the opportunity is, no, that would put 100,000 weights on my shoulders to do that. But anyways, the card that I pulled, oh, how interesting. Just when I was said that, back to the basics. Simplify things, reduce and center yourself. Yes, yes. Like I like to keep things simple myself. Some people like, complications. Some people like that hustle and bustle and everything, and they work through it really, really well and such. That's why it's like, go on your own flow. I like things to flow. I like things to, and as you're looking back, you're going to also start to see, by the way, why things happen the way they did. As we're going through the hell, or the challenges, nobody likes to go through that. No, like who does, right? But then you're going to be like, that's why that happened. That's why that didn't happen. So I could deal with this to get that done and over with so I can move forward now, right? So when you're just going with the basics of things and keeping things simple, things will flow much better for you. We can always get ourselves involved with so many different things around us. Absolutely. But don't push and force. See how, this everybody else is walking on the path, let's say down the other path. And this guy over here, he's just kind of like, I'm going on my own pace. I see you guys. Don't worry, I'll catch up to you. But right now, I just need space for me, right? I don't want to be with the rest of the group over here. I just need some space for me right now just to kind of go on my own pace, right? Listen to that. Listen to that. Go on your own rhythm, go on your own pace because it's you. You don't have to be the same as everybody else. Why would you want to be the same as everybody else? I mean, if that's what you like, that's okay, right? So now let's have a little chat with the animal world. I'm an animal communicator too. We're going to talk to the animal guides by Bradley Valentine. What messages does your animals have for you? Like I get messages all the time from the animals who have passed on and animals here still living, and I hear messages like literally all over the world from animals, no matter what. I always remember, just to give you a little insight, when I was spreading my dad's ashes, right? He loved the Okanagan and Penticton. So I scattered my dad's ashes in the Okanagan. And I had a seagull, literally, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? What like, what are you doing? It was so funny. Believe me, you had to be there. But I communicate with all animals, all walks of life, and so on. So when I get messages, sometimes I'll just be standing there and almost like having that outside conversation. And, people are like, who's she talking to? What is she talking about? I'm talking to the seagull. Have a little chat with him. Some guy was walking past me and he's like, okay. It's like, I'm not crazy. I don't care. I'm not crazy. I know what I'm doing. Have a little chat with this little guy here. It's like very comical. Anyways, let's see what the animal kingdom has to say between the 5th and the 10th of April. Message. 5th and the 10th of April. What is the message? Oh, how interesting. Now, I have many stories about magpies, many stories about magpies, messages and so on. The card that fell out is the magpie. Caution will help you avoid the loss of valuables, including non-materialistic resources, such as your peace of mind. Be aware of the results of your actions as well as what others might be doing behind your back. Stay true to you. We get those signs, and if we're doing something to other people that are hurting them on purpose, you know, just whatever is negative, that does come back to haunt you. I've just I observe a lot of different things and I'm just like, wow, like really? But and I keep things to myself. Like that magpie is like telling you just be careful what you're doing, pay more awareness to things. Maybe lock your car doors or your door as well, right? But he's like kind of bringing that, like that, see that key there. If you really take a look at, he's holding a key. That key can open up new doors. And also that key is telling you to lock your doors. Like my friend Terry, who had passed on, he would never lock his doors. Like we lived in the city. He never locked his door. He would go out and go to work. He wouldn't lock his home. He would not lock his doors. And I'm like, what? Like he says, I never lock it. And I'm like, why would you do that? Not worried. I could not do that myself. I could not do that. I mean, he didn't have any break-ins, but could you like go away for the day or wherever you're going and not lock your door? I couldn't, right? So just be a little bit more mindful about this, right? Just take that in for especially with someone, peace of mind, as I stated earlier, that's more important to me than anything, than anything. So, some of us like different things. Go with what feels right for you. Yeah, but let's pay attention. So let's pull a couple cards from the crystals. The Crystals Spirits by Gina Della Gritalia. There we go. I like this crystal deck the best. It's really beautiful, actually. And I do love crystals. I'm actually wearing my hemethyst, one of my big hemethysts. It's really heavy. It's really big. But go by what crystals you're really drawn to. But how do I know? Go by what you're drawn to, but how do I know what it is? A lot of times there's a little cards if you're in the store, what it represents, or you can ask the staff, or you can go online, what does this crystal mean? What's involved with it? And you're going to know what crystals work for you, what feels right for you, and so on, right? Let's see what the world of the crystals has from the 5th to the 10th of April. 5th to the 10th of April. 5th to the 10th of April. Green adventuring right here. I do have that crystal. I don't have it here. Show you, but I do have it around the house. Sign of creativity as well. Some of you, let's say green is for the heart chakra, green is for healing, and this crystal here is about creativity. Maybe some of you are getting more creative and you're going to want to start getting back into your creativity. Creativity could be with anything. It could be redecorating your home. It could be like writing. It could be projects, whatever it is. Be more creative and such like that. So you can't force it. It's like, especially let's say for a writer, you can't sit down there and force yourself to write. We can write anything, but it's like if that's not flowing with what you want to write, it's not going to be said right. You could find that whatever you wrote, God, that doesn't make any sense. It's literally all over. So certain things, that's why it's like you can't force yourself, you can't push yourself to write something, let's just say, or else it's not going to come out properly. You could read it and be like, oh my God, like, what was that? Where sometimes, even with me, sometimes I'll sit down and start writing, and 8 hours goes past, and I'm like, how did that happen? Because I was in the flow, channeling messages and so on and so on. And that will, and because things were flowing naturally, then that's the right energy to work with. So I'm going to write about these, the sky here or the water or, the hills and so on. Okay, God, what do I write? Can't force that, right? So just don't force anything, don't push anything, like I'm saying. Where some of you this week, as I mentioned, you might be finding, oh my gosh, yeah, I saw all of these different things in March, what I'm supposed to write, what I'm supposed to create, what I'm supposed to, and you might find that, yeah, boom, 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 boom. Now I'm going to be working on all of these things. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Where the guy over there in the corner could be like, oh my gosh, I just don't know what to write. I don't know. Of course, don't worry, don't panic. So I'm just going to pull another card here. You know what I mean? I just felt compelled towards to pull this card. I have different decks that I get pulled towards for these videos. Clear your cards. I clear my cards. And then I'm like, okay, as I'm doing the videos, I'm getting drawn to this deck now. Not all the decks I use here. Like, okay, Spirit, what's the message for the collective here? The 5th to the 10th of April, what is the message? What is the message? Message. Oops. What is the message? Too many cards. What is the message from the 5th to the 10th? Woo. Follow your passion. When you find your passion or you pursue your passion, new doors open up for you. Fire here, rebirth, transformation, transmutation, healing the old, bringing in the new, right? This is like a sacred, dance, what he's doing, a sacred initiation and so on, following your passions, no matter what it is, and if sometimes it's like, have you noticed if you sat down and talked to somebody, what you're passionate about, what you're looking at doing, if you're talking to the wrong person, that person can take away your dreams, your hopes. You can lose faith. Wow, I just felt really compelled towards that. I'm just really drawn to that path. Why are you going on that path? Do you know how many things could go wrong? Dream gone. So when you're writing down your goals, let's say, and vision boards, and gosh, I'd like to do this and that, keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself, because then you will find that things will flow and those new doors will open for you. Where who you surround yourself with, you become. So if you are with people that are supporting you in a positive way, things are going to be good. If you're with people that are like, oh my God, why did you do that? Why are you going that route? Why did you not do that? All of that. And it's just like, wow. So there's different soul tribes. Even I talked to a friend of mine the other day. I hadn't talked to her for, oh my goodness, quite some time. And it was like we just talked, a couple of days before that. She's part of my soul tribe. And there we can have, friendships with all walks of life, but it doesn't mean you have to talk to that person every single day. I have soul tribes and groups all around the world, and you don't talk to those people every day. But when you do talk to that person at the right time, and you're like, oh, it's so nice to catch up with you, and all of that, because that person accepts you. You don't have to be defending yourself. You don't have to hold back with what you're saying, because that person will listen to you. They're open to hear you rather than bashing you, rather than saying, what are you doing? That's wrong. You need to do this. You need to live your life that way. No, I live my life how I choose to live. I don't care what anybody says. You know, it's you. It's your life, your journey. It's not everybody else's journey. You have to stay true to who you are. So let me know what's going on. You know, like the videos. You know, make some comments and such. I might make some changes here. Um, you know, towards the end of the month. With certain things here, but we'll see what happens. Um, but anyways, that's another story another time. So anyways, if you guys want to book a reading, soulworkwithjeni.com, and I will catch you all later on the next Cosmic Vibes. Bye.